Welcome to Playfully Orange, our conversations about arts and culture here in Central Florida. My guest today is Nadia Garzón from Descolonizarte Teatro. Forgive my accent.
No, it was great. That was great.
Welcome, Nadia.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
So you are involved with theater here in Central Florida and a Spanish language theater. But let's find out a little bit about you before we talk about that. Where do you come from and how did you get involved in theater?
Yeah, so I'm originally from Colombia, South America, and I always did theater since I was a little girl. My first professional play I did when I was 16, and then I came to the States at age 19, so I was ready to keep acting. And it was very difficult because at the time, there was not such an understanding of diversity and the importance of immigrants. So it was kind of hard for me to get started, but I was able to do it, found the places and the type of work that I could do, and just kind of took off from there.
In Colombia, were you in Bogota? Where were you?
I was in Bogota, in the capital, yeah, which we have a lot of theater. We actually have one of the biggest Latin American, or Ibero-American, I think is what it's called, theater festivals of the world.
And you learned English there as well?
I did. But when I moved here, I was like, oh no, I did not learn a lot of the words. And of course, I had a much thicker accent when I first arrived.
Have you worked on changing your accent?
Not really. I don't think I made an effort necessarily, but like taking classes or something like that, I did not, except for when I was studying theater. We had some diction classes, but I did not take accent reduction classes. And I think it was important for me to always ask, oh, can you say that again? And I paid a lot of attention. I have a good ear for accents and languages, but I'm glad I didn't work on getting completely rid of it, because I am excited that I still have some, and that it comes back to me easily. Yeah, I think I was tempted, but I'm glad I didn't do it.
And the theater you were doing in Colombia was in Spanish?
Yes.
Spanish language. In your family, what do they think of you being in theater?
Well, they've always supported me. I think at first they thought it was a little strange that I wanted to do that professionally. But, when things started working out for me, they really supported my efforts. In particular, my dad, when I was in Colombia, was really supporting my efforts to get some education besides the education I had like in high school, to be able to get a professional training. And that was really meaningful for me. And I think that is one of the reasons why I continued doing it throughout the years. And once I got to the States, I started doing things in English as well as in Spanish.
And you felt there was a need for Spanish language theater?
Yeah, I've always thought so. I've done Spanish language theater in Central Florida for about 20 years now. But even though I wanted to have my own organization, I only started the organization in 2019, because that was more or less around the time I realized that people were paying attention to diversity. They were paying attention to Spanish-speaking theater. They were a lot more open to supporting the efforts of Latin American people in Central Florida and in the arts. So things have changed quite a bit since I started, and now it's completely different to have my own theater company.
And would you say that so Spanish is a language that is spoken in many countries, and there are a lot of people here that might be considered Hispanic, but have different accents, etc. Is yours a Colombian theater, or how does that work with audiences and actors from other places?
So the language unites us, right? And that's what we identify as Hispanics, is the people who have that Spanish language. But Latin America, on the other hand, is a region, right? It's a region of the world, and that has been designated as Latin America. And so includes places like Brazil that doesn't speak Spanish, but Portuguese, right? So I like to identify the theater that we're doing more with Latin American theater, which means that we take from these different regions of the world that have a very specific history, and that there's a reason why they were designated, not great reasons, but one of the reasons why they were designated Latin America. And we work with that. with the experiences of the people from these regions in their original regions, and also once they get to the United States as immigrants. So we have had plays that are focused on Colombia and Venezuela. For instance, one of them, we've had a play from a Chilean person. We have plays from, from different places. Our first play this year is going to be by a Cuban American, and it's going to be in English and Spanglish, rather, English and Spanish. So we do try to get things from all over Latin America to really represent all of us, because we are a very different and diverse group of individuals throughout.
When you're doing a play by a Chilean playwright or set in Chile, do you work at having a Chilean accent? Like when we're doing a British play, we would try to have a British accent?
No, actually, we don't. We actually sometimes have to change some of the text to reflect a more neutral Latin American. And the reason being that the people who are here as immigrants, not everybody would understand slang from a particular country. So we try to find something that is a little bit more neutral in the way that we speak. And then we allow the actors to have whatever accent they have. And that is because most of the time, we don't necessarily say this play takes place in this particular place. Most of the time we say this is somewhere in Latin America. And so we allow the actors to just kind of bring forth their accent, and we all kind of understand that that could be anywhere. And that way our audience, which is a diverse audience, can really connect to it.
And are you finding a good audience here?
Yes, we are. I mean, there's been an audience for a very long time. What we need now is to make sure that people are aware of all the offerings there are. We are not the only organization that's doing theater. We are one of them. We're very specific and very unique, but we're not the only ones. And we're especially not the first ones. Like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years. There were many, many other organizations that came before us, and many that will come after. So what we need is for people to understand that there are offerings, that there are things that people can go see, that there is theater happening here, and that they get used to going to see theater in Spanish, because it's technically something that can be some sort of new to have organizations that are having, like we do, programming year round. We have programming all year. And so it's a little hard to get people to understand that. Sure. Plus, we don't have a location. We don't have a particular place where we perform. So it's harder for people to follow you if they don't know where you're going to be performing next.
Although you will be at the new Fringe Art Space, I understand. But let's talk a little bit about the uniqueness. You mentioned your name of your company, Descolonizarte Teatro. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I get a feeling there might be some social implications to that.
Yes, the word descolonizarte comes from the word decolonization, and the translation could be something like decolonizing you or decolonize yourself. It's really what it says. It's also a play on words because it ends with the word arte, which is art, right? Which is also very much involved with the things that we do. And we are very unique. We work at the intersection of immigrant, latinx, and LGBTQ+, and we work in collaboration with several organizations locally here in town that work for human rights, farm workers, immigrant rights, LGBTQ rights. So we have all of these things that kind of come together to create a space where we can retell and reframe the stories about ourselves, see ourselves on the stage, and also create healing and community through the work that we're doing.
And how long have you had this company?
We launched in 2019, right before the pandemic.
Great time to launch a new project, right?
Pretty much.
And you will be doing, well, first you're doing some classes, I think.
Yeah, so we offer monthly workshops. They're completely free. We've been doing them in partnership with the Winter Park Library. And so you can go every month and we have a different class on different things, so theater and life. And then we're working on different projects with other organizations, but our first production is going to be at the Fringe Art Space, which is an amazing opportunity. And we'll be doing Our Lady of the Tortilla, which is again by Cuban American Luis Santiago. Great.
Well, we are delighted that you're here in our community, that you're going out and creating an organization and making the offerings here that we have much broader than they would be without you. So thank you for being here, and thanks for talking to me today. And thank you, folks, for listening to this issue of Playfully Orange.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Bye.
Bye.